Ladies and gentlemen of the Congress, President Jackson and Vice President Calvin, we are here today on the issue of the Indian Removal Act that, if passed, will soon go into effect. This law cannot be passed. We could be in danger of starting wars with the Native Americans because of broken treaties. Also, putting this law into use would violate basic human rights. In past time, we have shown no respect towards the Native Americans and their culture, and it's time for change. By passing this act, this country will have made an immense mistake. Ladies and gentlemen, the Indian Removal Act is immoral. This law is breaking the most important thing someone has, their own human rights. Not only is it immoral, but it is demoralizing to the Indians because taking their land and moving them west is practically a death sentence. It clearly states in America's most famous document, the Declaration of Independence, that all men are created equal. For those who are for this issue, I want you to think, is this really right what we are planning to do to the Indians? Pregnant women, sick men, young children, do you really want to make them go on a long journey? If you do, I want you to think, what if this was your family? What if you had to leave your home and move because someone wanted your land? What if you would get nothing in return? How would you feel? Because you want this land to a great extent, you aren't even listening to any proposals the Indians are making so that they can maintain their land. In 1823, the Supreme Court handed down a decision which stated that Indians could occupy lands within the United States but could not hold title to those lands. This was because their right of occupancy was lesser than the United States' right of discovery. In response to the great threat this posed, the Creeks, Cherokee, and Chickasaw instituted policies of restricting land sales to the government. They wanted to protect what remained of their land before it was too late.
Treaties for land possession were set up early in George Washington's presidency with the Cherokee Nation. The Treaty of Holston, set up with the Cherokee Nation in 1791, states in Article 7 that the United States solemnly guarantees to the Cherokee Nation all their lands not hereby ceded, meaning that the lands given to the nation shall never be handed over. In Article 8, the Act states that if any citizen of the United States or other person not being an Indian shall settle on any of the Cherokee's lands, such person shall forfeit the protection of the United States, and the Cherokees may punish him or not, as they please. This means that the Native Americans will have every right to attack anybody who settles on their lands. This treaty also mentions perpetual peace and friendship. By breaking these treaties, the tribes might sue, or worse, start a war, costing the government large amounts of money. In 1802, the Cherokee Nation sued the state of Georgia because of the Treaty of Holston, but our government sided with Georgia because of our fear of Georgia withdrawing from the Unionhood. Our fear and ignorance caused the nation extreme pain and anguish. The Cherokees sued because gold rushers and squatters were killing Native Americans and stealing their crops and animals. This could easily happen again. With this country feeling pressure to expand, settlers will soon be eager to move to new lands, causing more strife towards the Native Americans who, if this act is passed, will be living in those very lands that the settlers feel the need to move into. Our government set up these treaties for a purpose, to keep potentially dangerous rivalries, not to mention war, from starting. This act may seem practical and just, but in fact, our country will be violating almost every single treaty our country has ever made with these tribes. How can we accept this when it was our very government who set up these treaties? We should not pass the Indian Removal Act, as it will cause rivalries that this country will regret having in times of need.
We have looked down on the Native Americans as if they were to be an uncivilized culture, rather than having a different way of living. That must come to an end. We have no respect towards these people simply because we want their land so badly that we are willing to go to extremes. We have belittled them, calling them things like savages only because they hunt for their food. And so what if they have a different way of doing it than us? We have called them wild because of where they live and what they worship. What does that say about us? We are disrespecting them only because we are jealous of their land and want it for ourselves. Have you ever taken the time to think about this from a Native American's point of view? To them, what is America and who is an American? Why are these men not willing to make peace? And what did we do wrong? Now I ask you, what did they do wrong to deserve their land to be brutally taken away? What did they do? We have stated our point and would like to remind you of the mistake you are blindly about to make. You are about to carelessly kill hundreds of people, men, women, children, and infants. People like you and me. People with feelings, families, and jobs. They have homes that we are about to violently take away out of our own selfishness. What if those were your feelings, families, and jobs, and homes that were about to be taken away? We are violating basic human rights. The Declaration of Independence states that all men are equal. We are not treating them as equals, and you and I both know it. If it isn't enough that we haven't treated them like dirt, if this bill is passed, we are going to break almost all the treaties we have made to 2 of the 5 civilized tribes, along with other treaties to the other 3 tribes. They may feel that there is need for war after what we have done. Not only have we violated their rights, but we are willing to break. Not only have we violated their rights, but we are willing to break all our treaties with some of the nations, and we have disrespected them to the highest level. We look down upon them because they differ from us, and because they differ from us, we are uncivilized. While looking down upon another man for no reason but jealousy and selfishness is very uncivilized if you ask us. To top it all off, we are willing to force them to leave their lives behind. Ladies and gentlemen of the Congress, if we pass this bill, we have made an immense mistake.